Hey, this is Philip Vanderbox from Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and today I am in Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay, and I am driving the 2021 Honda Ridgeline Sport all-wheel drive, and this is the HPD package, which if you've seen any recent Honda commercials, you know that they've been trying to appeal to a younger buyer, trying to appeal to somebody that goes more outdoors. They've been showing their trucks and their SUVs getting dirty out there with some dirt bikes and some of their quads and that type of stuff, some of the other products that they make, and they are trying to appeal to a more outdoorsy type of buyer. So is this HPD package something that you could take off-road and take to Moab and, you know, go through Hell's Revenge? Yeah, probably not without some modifications, but if you want to take it camping, if you want to take it to the beach, if you want to take it towing some of your jet skis or your kayaks or your canoes, tow maybe a little pop-up camper or something or other, this might be the truck for you. So today we're going to test it out here in Maryland. I know that Jill and Tim have previously driven this truck back in the fall, but today I'm going to give you my opinions on it, and we're going to start right now. Alright, now let's talk a little bit about this HPD package on this Honda Ridgeline. This is a $2,800 package, and they do admit that it's an appearance package. HPD stands for Honda Performance Development, which they put here right in the badging. So if you want some badging and some stripes there on the back, they got you there for the $2,800 package. And then on the rear, you also get the HPD badge here. And then in addition to that, the HPD package includes this black cladding that you have. They call them fender flares around the rear tire here and around the front tire. You can see those there. And there's also a different treatment on the front grille. So if you like that front grille like we do, then you might like the HPD package. And the last thing that this includes is the 18-inch alloy wheels here in this bronze treatment, which we think this is pretty sharp here. Like the bronze. And that looks pretty nice in my opinion. And I'll show you the back one too. And so overall, especially with this white color, you get a nice white, black, and bronze color scheme, which is if you've done any work, watching any home improvement shows or any interior design shows recently in kitchens, you'll know that this color scheme is actually really popular right now with appliances like refrigerators and ranges and stoves. You have your white appliance with kind of black accents, and then bronze like handles and accessories and things, bronze knobs like on the front of the stove and stuff. So this package looks pretty sharp, and I don't know if it's intended to match that styling that you see in kitchens. While I like the bronze wheels, I'm not sure if it would work as well with different colors on this car. I'd have to see those to make a judgment, but I definitely do like it with the white. I like the way the whole package comes together. I love, of course, the blacked out, and instead of having no chrome at all. Alright, now look at the side view of the Ridgeline. I want to talk a little bit about ground clearance. So it's supposed to be better, a little bit better for off-roading, and then, you know, like I said, the advertisements recently have been a little bit more outdoorsy, but the Honda Ridgeline still suffers from low ground clearance, and actually on this iteration it is 7.9 inches. And so if you compare that to something like a Jeep Gladiator, of course, it's at 10.8 inches. So that's almost 3 inches difference in ground clearance between a Honda Ridgeline and a Jeep Gladiator. And of course, this is not trying to be a Jeep Gladiator, but if it was, it would definitely be found. So the Ridgeline actually has a 20.1 degree approach angle. It has a 19.6 degree breakover angle and a 22.1 degree departure angle. So there are your important off-road stat facts, and of course the most important one being that 7.9 inches of ground clearance. Alright, as you can see, I have parked it here in the sand. This is what used to be a little bit of a boat launch, and you still could technically launch a boat here, but most people would prefer a paved boat launch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the camera on a tripod, and we are going to back out of this sand and see if the all-wheel drive has any difficulty with that. If it does, we might be calling for a tow. So this Ridgeline is equipped with different terrain modes, and we have a button right here in the center console. So we've got normal, we got snow, we got mud, and we got sand. And yep, today we're in the sand. So I'm going to leave it on sand mode, and we'll see what happens. Well, I mean, that was so easy. I decided to go ahead and pull it down further down the embankment here and towards the water. and back it out, and it had no problem both times I tried it. So I know it's only a simple little test of sand, but it didn't have any trouble at all. Okay, while we were filming the Ridgeline here, a local worker just happened to pull up driving a Tacoma, a recent Tacoma. I believe he said it's a 2018 model with a similar color and style to it. So we thought we'd compare the front end on this Tacoma to the Honda Ridgeline, because this is one of my major concerns about, or styling things that I don't like on the Ridgeline compared to other trucks like the Tacoma. When you look at the front end of the two trucks, you can see how the Tacoma, the hood, the front of the hood sits much higher than on the Ridgeline. And on the Ridgeline, of course, when you're driving the truck, you have much better visibility out of the front of the truck. But in terms of front end styling, it just doesn't appear as loud and proud and tall as a truck like the Tacoma. So if you look at the front of the Tacoma there, and then if we compare from the side, you can see how the Ridgeline basically disappears behind the Tacoma. But if I go over to the other side, I tried to line up the A-pillars on these two in the mirrors and get them right next to each other. You can see when I go here, go down, the height of the Tacoma comes up much further in the front. And you can see the difference in the shape of the hoods there. Now this model was redesigned recently, and the front end is much better than it used to be. Actually, it used to be worse in my opinion, but it is much better looking than it used to be. I still think that the front end just appears short to me. Alright, now we're going to talk about a few things I like about this Honda Ridgeline, and then we're going to get into a couple things I do not like about it. So first, I do like the dual exhaust there. That's pretty sharp looking. But the main thing I want to show you here is the tailgate. If you have not seen this yet, this has been something that's been kind of a signature of Honda Ridgeline ever since it came out, and it is one of their best features. That is this dual mode tailgate here. So you have where it says right there, release from the bumper, so you can reach in here, and you can release the tailgate this way, and it swings out to the left. And so then you can access things in the bed. And this is pretty nice to be able to get to things a little bit closer into the bed here, which they have this plastic bed that we like here with the tie downs. And that means you don't get it all scratching up your paint. And of course you scratch up the plastic. I don't believe it's as tough as the carbon that you'll get in the GMC models, but it's still better than having a metal bed here with no treatment on it at all. There are plenty of tie downs, and tie downs there. So we like that. But one of the other features that we really love here, and it's lockable, is this rear trunk that's underneath the bed. So if you can see that, and of course you've got the plug there. You can turn this into a cooler if you want, but you can store your luggage in here. If you're going off-roading, you can store your recovery gear in here. You still have your spare tire and your jack that are in here. But that's just some nice storage there that's very useful, very functional in the Honda Ridgeline. And so if I put that back down, you can see that I can also close the tailgate, and we can do a more normal tailgate where you pull it down this way, and you get your more normal tailgate that you're used to there. So having both modes of that tailgate is quite useful. In the bed, you'll also see that we have some lights here, and we have a little bit of storage on the right side. So if you just turn these knobs, and this folds down, and then you have a little bit of storage there. That's a good place sometimes to keep like your jumper cables and things like that, little accessories that you need, or retrieval straps. So we have lights on both sides of the bed, and then that little compartment there for storage. Alright, well, if you want to have a little bit of fun here, we've got a sand parking lot. It's mostly sand, a little bit of gravel in it, but it's all kind of loose. It's not very deep, it's kind of hard packed. But if we put this into sand mode, right here at this button, and then use this button to change it to sport mode, and you'll see right here. So we do sand mode. Sand mode to turn off your traction control, which is kind of key there. And then we put this bad boy into sport. And now we are sport sand mode with no traction control. Let's see what happens. Alright, one more thing that we wanted to show you in the bed of this Honda Ridgeline, which we previously did not show, was actually the width. According to Honda, this is the only mid-sized truck that can fit a full sheet of plywood, which is 48 inches wide, 4 feet wide, across the back of the bed. They said it's actually 50 inches wide across here, so you can get in this opening, and in between those wheel wells there, you can get a full sheet of plywood. And then of course you fold down this back tailgate, and it's going to stick out a little bit here because you got an 8-foot sheet of plywood, and it's not going to fit in this bed, but it's going to stick out the back. So if you are somebody that's going to be transporting a lot of plywood, sheetrock, that type of stuff that's 4x8 sheets, then the Honda Ridgeline might be the truck for you. All right, I just want to take a look at the payload number here. It's 1,543 pounds, and according to Honda, that is best in class for mid-sized trucks. All right, we're just going to take a look at a couple of things here on the interior, some other things that I like and dislike about this truck. So first, we're going to start here with the back seat. And if you look, we have a pretty good amount of legroom here, and according to Honda, it's actually the most legroom in its class. So the most legroom in the mid-size model and mid-size trucks. And if you look here, we've got this pull handle. We can fold up the back seat, and it snaps in place there. And if I go around to the other side, I can do the same thing on the other side. And then you have this entire flat floor here that you can use for storage. As I said, if you go to the driver's side here, you can also pull this handle here, and on this side you've got the 2/3 bench seat that folds up and latches into place, and then you have the 1/3 left on the other side, so you can pull the whole thing up if you want to, or you can just use 2/3 or 1/3. There are 3 climate zones here in the Honda Ridgeline. However, there are no controls in the back, so if you want to adjust the temperature here in the back, that has to be done from the front. I also do not see any charging ports. And in the front seat, you'll notice that we have here in the center this large storage bin, and my wife likes it. I'm okay with it. The large storage bin, though, you can see her purse in there. I have a little bit of my GoPro stuff in there, and you've got plenty of storage. However, what you do not have is an armrest, a center armrest. What you have instead is these little armrests attached to the seats. And this is one of the things I actually absolutely dislike about this vehicle, because I find that these armrests are located too close to my body in order to actually use them for the driving position that I have. So if I put that down, my arm usually kind of goes here instead, and it wants to have an armrest in the middle, a center armrest instead. So if you have not driven the Ridgeline and the center armrest is something that's important to you, you might want to get in it and drive it and see how that little fold down armrest treats you versus the center. Alright, there you go. As you can see, our Honda Ridgeline is now attached to a small little pop-up camper. And this Honda Ridgeline in the all-wheel drive configuration has a max towing capacity of 5,000 pounds. If it was a two-wheel drive model, it would only have a 3,500 pound capacity. Our little camper here only weighs 1,300 pounds when it's dry. So it's been sitting all winter. We know it's dry, so 1,300 pounds. When we have a max towing capacity of 5,000 pounds, should be no problem at all for this truck to be able to tow this trailer. All right, when we first picked this truck up at the airport, the first thing we did was reset the tripometer. So you can see so far we've driven 271 miles, and we're getting an average fuel economy of 20.7 miles per gallon. That's actually a little bit misleading though, because for the last 20 miles or so, we've been doing some filming, which involves a lot of idling and short trips and that type of stuff. So when we hit about 250 miles, that was when we were just driving, both city and highway driving, and combined we were getting about 22 miles per gallon. So now we got the trailer hooked up. I'm gonna reset this on here so that way we can see what we get when we're towing. So here we go. All right, well, we've just been driving around the neighborhood here, and the truck is doing very nice. And as you can see right here, maybe, I don't know if you can tell, but we're going up a hill. And we got a little bit of twisty bits here, so we add some incline and some curves to it, and really it doesn't feel too bad back there. You can kind of barely tell you have the trailer until, of course, you get to a hill or you have to brake, you know, a little bit quickly or whatever. So, and of course, with a trailer, you don't drive at the same speeds you would without the trailer, and you also leave yourself more room to brake. So, as long as you do that and you are under, as we are right here, well under the max tow capacity, you're not going to have any trouble at all. So with the 5,000 pounds, like I said, you can tow a small trailer like this, well, small pop-up camper. You can tow a couple jet skis back there. You can tow a small boat. There's a pretty good list of things that you can tow to have a good time with a truck at this size, mid-sized truck that can tow 5,000 pounds. And if you need a full-size truck, you go up to 10,000 pounds. Of course, you can tow much bigger campers and much bigger boats. So it's all a matter of getting the size truck for what you need, and this Ridgeline here is all the truck you need to tow a trailer of this size. Alright, so now we are towing this trailer through the campsite. Like I said, it's a little pop-up trailer. It's only 1,300 pounds, and this truck is ready to tow 5,000, so that's not really putting too much of a stress on. I don't really feel too much behind me. And as you can see from some of the other camera views, this is just a gravel road, something typically you might see in a campsite. It's not, you know, perfect, but it's not off-roading in Moab either. So, but this is the type of stuff that people might typically do with a Honda Ridgeline. You know, you take it outdoors, you take it with your campgrounds with your family, and put a couple kayaks or canoes in the back and give it some light duty, not heavy duty stuff. If you were interested in doing some more serious off-roading, I think a couple upgrades you could get this thing pretty suited to do for some decent trails. The main concern I have would be the current tires. It's the Firestone Destination tires that are all season, not all terrain. So they're 30-inch tires currently. If you were to upgrade those to 32-inch tires, so you gain 1 inch on above and below the axle basically, you would get 1 inch of rise, and you'd get do all-terrain 32-inch all-terrain tires. You'd be much more capable of handling trails. But for most buyers, this would be plenty capable of handling the stuff that they were interested in doing. It'd get you down most trailheads for hiking and camping and canoeing, kayaking, that type of stuff. I'm only talking about if you wanted to get a little bit more ground clearance and a little bit more capability to handle all different types of surfaces. So other than that, this thing, the all-wheel drive, like I said, it's got the mud mode, it's got a snow mode, and it has a sand mode. And they basically just changed the traction and stability control to handle different levels of slip that you need in those conditions. So for everything else, it really only has a normal mode. So here I am towing through the campgrounds, and there is no tow mode on this truck. It's just a normal mode. So that is all. We're gonna hit next. We're gonna get it back out on the highway and see how this thing does at higher speeds. So now we are merging onto the highway, and we're going to see how kind of acceleration we get here. Appears to be having no trouble at all, as you can see, getting up to speed. Green light, and we're going to go now. And I'm not going to floor it, I'm just going to steadily increase my speed. So we're already up to 30 miles an hour, and the speed limit here is 55 anyways, so you don't need to floor it, you don't need to go crazy, but there's plenty of pickup to take care of this 1,300-pound trailer, and you can barely even notice it's back there. No problem. Now we're already up to 55 miles an hour. So it's not a 0 to 60 test by any means. We're not trying to get there fastest, but just drive the trailer within your means, within the means of the truck, and you'll be fine. Alright, so we're going along at 55 miles an hour, and I'm not noticing any type of sway or anything. The dog's not being wagged by its tail or any of that type of stuff. So alright, so we're going to make a turn here. So we're going to come up to a stop, and we're currently going 55. I'm going to start braking. Of course, leaving plenty of room in front of me. And slowly coming to our stop. And go all the way down to a full stop before I turn, just see how it does. And yeah, the trailer's not pushing me. The truck's in complete control. It's looking good. And as I said, there is no tow mode on this truck, and there's no trailer setup or any of that type of stuff. So the truck does not know how much weight is behind there, and there is no settings or anything for adding additional trailer braking gain or any of that type of stuff. So it's just hook it up and go. All right, there you go. We are back at the house, and as you can see, we traveled 21.9 miles, and we averaged 12 miles per gallon. I will say that we were filming during this time period, so we were flying the drone, placing some cameras, doing lots of idling, and we probably used a gallon of gas just backing down the driveway here to get it in position. So your mileage may vary as always. You probably get a little bit better fuel economy on this if you did a full long-range test and you weren't filming like we were. So. Alright, now that I've been driving the Honda Ridgeline for a couple days, I want to share some of my thoughts with you. Alright, it does come with a 3.5 liter V6 engine standard, and that's mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission that produces 280 horsepower and 262 pound-foot of torque. And through my driving the last couple of days at the highway and in the back roads and stuff, I found that the engine's been adequate. I don't expect it to handle like a sports car. I don't expect it to have all that power. I don't expect it to have the same horsepower or torque as a full-size truck. So to me, it's been adequate for my needs. It's been able to handle the trailer that I pulled, and I haven't had any issues with driving it. The one thing that does kind of, I guess, bother me a little bit is that when I drive this truck, I feel like I'm a little bit lower. The front end feels a little bit closer. The handling on it is very much crossover-like. It feels like I'm driving a small crossover. It does not feel like I'm driving a mid-sized truck. And personally, I like driving trucks. I like driving mid-sized trucks. I like being a little bit higher. And so I actually would prefer that it drive like a truck. Now, I know there's a lot of customers out there that probably prefer that this thing drives almost exactly like their CR-V or their Passport, drives like a crossover. And for those customers, then this is exactly meeting their needs. But for me personally, I would prefer that it drive a little bit more like a truck. So to me, that's a little bit disappointing. But you know, the Honda Ridgeline came out in 2006. And I've always seen it as a vehicle that kind of would appeal to Honda buyers. You know, if you're the type of person who maybe drove a Honda Civic in college and then graduated to a CR-V, and you've just been a Honda family, and you needed to add a truck to your garage, then the Honda Ridgeline would be the logical truck for you to choose because you like Honda and it's a Honda truck. And so I never really seen it as a truck that appealed to buyers outside of Honda. However, Honda tells us it's the exact opposite. They said that the Ridgeline is actually currently their #1 conquest model, which means that it pulls more customers from other brands than any of their other vehicles. So that was surprising to me. So, you know, it's a different type of truck. So what I would tell you is if you're interested in a mid-sized truck, and you've shopped around and you've seen the other trucks and they're not doing it for you, then maybe the Honda Ridgeline is the one that you've been looking for. You know, maybe you want a different type of truck that drives more like a crossover and is a little bit lower to the ground, but it has, you know, some cool storage. It has a nice bed with a lot of cool tricks to it. Has lots of leg room in the back. Maybe that's the type of vehicle for you. So that's about all I got for you today. We did a little bit of towing. We looked at some of the things I like about this truck, some of the things I don't like about this truck. We've driven around town here. We took it to the beach. And overall, we had a good time with it. And if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and check out the other feature videos that we have here to the right. We want to thank you as always for watching, and we'll see you down the road.